Yeah. So it would go back to that 5 or 6 years back. In
Yeah.
that time period, I was focused on trying to identify what I thought the next big thing might be here domestically in the United States.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that were talking a lot about the opiate epidemic, but there was so much research already being done on it. There was money being poured into it. There was a lot of support out there for it. So I felt like, okay, that topic is very pertinent, but it's very saturated at this point. Like, I'm not sure that there is, for lack of better words, the frontier there left for me to go and explore, because there's so many people that have already done it and they know more about it than I do. So I was trying to identify, well, what's like the next big trend or two that I see coming down in, say, the next 5 years. And I just started hearing whisperings for parents of, well, I think my son might be addicted to video games, or my daughter's really struggling with social media. And so I thought, all right, let me look at that. And there wasn't much literature here in the United States at that point on there. There still isn't. But there was enough that I said, wow, this actually might be a real thing. And then the light switch event for me was when I decided to expand my research to include the entire globe. It's like other countries have treated this as a public health crisis for 20 years at this point. The research is much deeper in Southeast Asia, for instance, compared to the United States, because they've been dealing with the impact of it. And so initially I thought, well, maybe that's just a cultural difference. And I do believe culture plays a role in that. But it's also just, they were early innovators with it. So everything that's happened in the United States has already happened in Asia. They just started 15 years ahead of us. And now the mainstream popularity that we have in the United States is showing that we're on the same road. We're just a little bit, further back. And then the link to gambling, for instance, came up because I went and got highly specialized training on gambling addiction from the Council on Compulsive Gambling. And as they were describing loot boxes, I was like, this is the same, or I'm sorry, as they were describing slot machines, I said, this is the same mechanics of video game design and loot boxes. And so I tied those two together. And then while I was researching it more and more, then I realized, wait, this is the same design of social media as well. So the underlying mechanisms are all the same. And it's all based off of really behaviorism, which was B.F. Skinner. So that's how the more I pulled on it, the more there was, the further I went down the rabbit hole, the further I could go with it. And that point that you made before that stuck out to me was, we're in this age where you can access any information almost any time. Yeah. But what I've seen is a significant diminishment in people's ability to actually think.
Yes.
And their uncomfortable or unwillingness to go into the Thunderdome with just their thoughts. Well, my Thunderdome is different trails. I get away from everything. I go into nature. I go for long hikes. I go for long runs and just see what comes up. So I had a bunch of research that I had put together on video games, gambling, and social media. And then I hit the trails and just let that marinate together and just started to see, with the passage of time, the threads that tied all of them together. And so that's how.
Is there, man, there's so many things, threads I want to pull in. One is what you're saying about this having sort of happened in Asia. My co-founder was born in Korea.
Okay.
And, out him a little bit. He maybe had a little StarCraft problem.
Yeah. StarCraft, 9 million copies sold. 4.5 million of them were sold in South Korea.